I'm going to get some new video of flooding in the Houston metro area. We've seen cars stranded, people having to be rescued from the high water as well. Big problems across this area with heavy rain that has been really persistent throughout the afternoon. A new photo coming into us from near Houston. This is a woman who actually had to be rescued by fire rescue from her vehicle in the flood waters. And another video showing just how high that water is around some neighborhoods. You can see streets have been effectively turned into streams. Hurricane expert Dr. Knabb here with me. You've been monitoring the flash flood threat. We want to bring in the chief of police in the city of Houston, Art Acevedo. Thank you so much, Chief, for joining us. Can you talk about some of the areas of the city that have been the hardest hit at this point?
Well, right now, the Kingwood area is the hardest hit. We've got a lot of widespread street flooding, and we also have flooding into homes. And unfortunately, the kids that are stuck in schools, so traffic's at a standstill. A lot of vehicles have been flooded out. And we even had water into a child care center that luckily didn't go too high and it's starting to subside a little bit, but we were able to get police officers and some of our Houston firefighters in there with us to take care of the kids and make sure they were calm and safe.
And Chief, could you talk about the southwest side of town? I know Meyerland is starting to get some very heavy rain, maybe some impassable roads. Sugarland has been hard hit. How are things going on the southwest side?
The rain left, the heavy rain, bands of rain left here about an hour ago into the south side of the city, and it's starting to have the same impact there as it did here. We've got high water rescue vehicles moved into that area as well as up the Kingwood area. And it's just, you know, it is what it is. A lot of water in a short period of time. And from the reports that we got earlier today, we may be seeing some more heavy rains later on this week, maybe even a stalling system sometime late Friday. But I hope that that'll change between now and Friday and Saturday.
We're about 7:30 local time, or approaching 7:30 local time, so we're at the end of that evening commute. What are you advising people to do if maybe they haven't left work yet, if they're already home? I would imagine the advice is stay put.
Yeah, I mean, if you have I've actually put it out, if you're not in the areas that are impacted, like the Kingwood area, if you're not already here, please don't come here until the weather event passes. If you're home, just stay put. But we've got so much traffic, it's all at a standstill. It's really, and it does impact and hamper our high water rescue vehicles and our boats that we're trying to get around, along with Houston Fire. So stay put if you can. Don't come to the area and wait until the weather passes and the water subsides.
Chief, what does it mean that you've got a command post set up in Kingwood? I mean, is the situation becoming overwhelming that nobody can really move anywhere in that area, or how
no,
is the command post affecting you?
Well, we've got a command post set up at the Kingwood Hospital here. We have the Emergency Operations Center. The city has activated that with Mayor Turner, so we're working on that over there. And then we're operating, we're activating the Department of Operations Center.
And unfortunately, we lost Chief Acevedo there, but great information leading up to that. I know they've got a busy evening now ahead because we're getting down to the point where the sun goes down. It's very difficult to see not just how deep it is, but where the water is actually located. Sometimes people drive into it without knowing there was even a water-covered roadway.
Yeah, and that command post that we were asking about, they said on social, on Twitter, that they had to rescue people who were stranded in their cars.
Yeah, it's been he said it's been a very active afternoon. They've got kids stuck at schools, and a daycare center also flooded. We're also, in addition to watching the flooding, watching the severe and tornado-warned storms. Dr. Forbes, we're continuing to follow along with John Humphreys, who is now in Clarendon, Texas, on this tornado-warned storm.
Yeah, and this is the same storm that earlier was down around Tulia and the Crest areas. It's now has that tornado that you see there that's on the gust front of the storm. That's this storm here. There's two others in Oklahoma, Texas, and one in southwest parts of Texas as well. Let's take a look at that storm that you just looked at. It's spinning its way now across Armstrong and Donley counties, south and east of Amarillo. It's near the Ashtola and Clarendon areas. Here is there's about ready to cross Highway 287 with that big swirling mass. So that would put it near Ashtola and then 743 up toward the Boydston area. Here's the velocity. So here's what we were seeing. There's Clarendon. So there's the inflow to this big swirling storm. There is some of the rain and hail cooled air wrapping around. So tornado was forming in this interface, this wind shift line. And there could be multiple ones of those that will form up toward the Howard-Wick area and then areas off toward the north and east. We'll continue to monitor these and all the other storms. Big hail down on I-10 in southwest Texas. Stay with us.
We want to take you back to the Houston area where flooding has become a developing story this afternoon. From northwest Texas, where we've got plenty of severe and tornado warnings, to southeast Texas, where it's been about the rain, the persistent rain over a period of hours. Totals up to 8, 9, even 10 inches of rain this afternoon, and that has left communities absolutely swamped. And the threat for tornadoes does remain high tonight. We're with you on the air with special extended coverage until 1 a.m. Eastern, midnight Central, to keep you and your family safe. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Alex Wilson. We've got severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes in the house tracking the severe weather, and hurricane expert Dr. Knabb is here watching our flash flood threat as well. I want to get you back to Clarendon, Texas, and this is an area where a storm tracker, John Humphreys, is out there continuing to monitor. This is a warned storm, and Dr. Forbes, you were talking about how this is an area where we're going to see some perhaps quick spin-ups right along this leading edge of this gust front.
Yeah, and the circulation on that gust front has really intensified over the past 10 minutes. It's now near the Howard-Wick, Texas area, and so I expect the tornado to be in progress there, moving northeast at about 35 miles per hour. That's this storm. We have two others up near the Texas-Oklahoma border, and one that's coming right across I-10 in southwest parts of Texas. So let's take a look at some of these. We'll start with the storm where you just saw our video from. Tornado warning for Armstrong and Donley counties, south and east of Amarillo. We've been following it. The strongest circulation right at the moment, here's Clarendon, is right near the Howard-Wick area. All of this green is the inflow to this broad rotation. This red and yellow is rain and hail-cooled air surging forward. And so at the interface there, the shear line, if you will, of this gust front is where the strongest circulation and where we have seen a tornado along that gust front. So it's at Howard-Wick heading northeast. Up into Oklahoma now, just across from the Texas Panhandle, Roger Mills County with a tornado warning. That storm heading toward Durham and Crawford, Oklahoma. And the storm up around Lipscomb now, no longer tornado warned, it's severe warned up around Rosette. If it re-intensifies, it would be heading up into Oklahoma near Laverne area. Then down into southwest Texas, we've had reports along I-10, mile markers 273, 274, almost tennis ball size hail covering the interstate. The other thing is you could see this well-defined hook echo there. Not very far away from the interstate, there could be a tornado. Pecos County with a tornado warning. That would be getting close to the community of Bakersfield, maybe slightly to the north of that. And well-defined rotation along the I-10 there. Red and green, a tornado vortex signature. Brand new scan just came in just north of the interstate now, about 26 miles or 20 or 30 miles east of the Fort Stockton area. So very dangerous storm there as well, Alex. Certainly anyone who hears this broadcast should not be moving along I-10 there in that 30-mile area east of the Fort Stockton region. Alex?
Yeah, of course, always concerned about the traffic out there on the roads. If you know somebody who may be traveling, let them know about these storms if they were to maybe miss the warning. In addition to the severe danger, of course, we've got the hail, the wind, and the tornadoes. We've also got big-time rainfall, and it's not just limited to our current severe warnings. Dr. Knabb, we have been watching Houston so closely over the last few hours. The rainfall rates are mind-blowing in some of these areas.
You know, 4 inches an hour. I mean, this is insane. And we've got new flash flood warnings. I'm keeping tabs on them. They're coming out fast and furious, and getting multiple reports all over metropolitan Houston of impassable and closed roads. and even water rescues having to take place north of town, especially off in the Humble area, in the Kingwood area. So we've got multiple flash flood warnings. The one closest to downtown Houston on the southwest half of town is the portion of Harris County that goes right up against Fort Bend County, where there's already been a flash flood warning for quite some time. And this includes the Bel Air area, the Meyerland area, and we've got reports of water covering of the roads, many impassable roads in the Meyerland area. Here's one report. Again, this is where 610 loop makes that bend on the southwest side of Houston. Street flooding, some impassable roads in the Meyerland area, a very vulnerable area in the Bryce Bayou area, and then Bel Air north of there. Some cars flooded in the 610 59 area. Now, we have a new flash flood warning on the southeast side of town. So this includes Baytown, Pasadena, Pearland, very flood-prone areas as well. So we're really starting to fill in metropolitan Houston. This will go until 10:30 local time. And then we still have the really hard-hit area of Spring and Kingwood under their flash flood warning until 7:45 local. Would not be shocked if that gets extended. And then we have an increasing flood threat in the Austin, Texas area, flood advisory there. Watch out for the low spots, Alex, being covered in water, and we will continue all night to monitor what will happen in Kansas. Wichita, eventually Kansas City by tomorrow morning, serious flood threat as well.
Yeah, that state already littered with flood warnings and flash flood warnings, so we'll keep a close eye there. Be safe if you live in Kansas. Coming up on the show, of course, our severe threat, our flood threat does not end tonight. We're going to show you why the concern is increasing for some major cities. New video coming into us here at the Weather Channel. This a tornado warned storm near Tulia, Texas from Charles Peak. And take a look at the color of the sky. You're likely looking right at that rain shaft, that hail core right down the middle, and that is a vibrant shade of turquoise or aquamarine. So many times people report this in these storms that produce tornadoes, but especially the big hail. This thanks to the low sun angle, too. As we get into the evening hours, we've seen this in a few of our storms. Also, some new video coming in of a massive storm cell gathering over Greenwood County in Kansas. Now, Greenwood, about 40 miles east of Wichita. And take a look. We are panning on this thing. These storms have been, in some cases, massive, rotating supercell thunderstorms. Now, we do think that as we go into the evening and overnight, we will see these develop into more of a line where damaging wind would be the big threat. But, Dr. Forbes, these have been, very dangerous storms, but absolutely photogenic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that storm in Kansas, southeast of Wichita, really surged out for a while as a bow echo. It began as supercell thunderstorms. And we have one of these big thunderstorms that's still ongoing with a tornado threat that is spinning like a top south and east of Amarillo. A couple of other tornado warnings, including one here southwest of San Angelo that's pretty close to I-10, Interstate 10. Here is the storm we've been watching the longest on video. It came from the Tulia Crest area. It's up now almost east of the Amarillo area, Armstrong and Donnelly counties. It is reorganizing into a really massive hook echo instead of one of these rain wrap things. So I think bad things are yet to come from this storm. Can you see the hook showing up there right near the Howard Wick area? So it is re-intensifying, heading up toward places like McLean and a few others, Allen Reed, and maybe close to Jericho, Texas as well. Here's the velocity showing up on this big surge of rain and hail-cooled air. There's the inflow to the storm, and so quite a circulation now has redeveloped up in areas near Howard Wick and heading northeast at about 30 miles per hour. One remnant tornado warning here, Roger Mills County in Texas, probably going to be allowed to expire. This one, though, east of Fort Stockton, goes to I-10, southwest parts of Texas, Pecos County. We've had some reports of tornadoes with this. We've had reports of up to tennis ball size hail covering I-10 and maybe just a little north of I-10 right now, but it's close to mile markers 289 to 290. So this is not the time to be traveling I-10 just to the west of Iran. And another round of storms firing up west of Lubbock. Severe warned. We'll keep an eye on that. And severe warned storms now firing up again west of Amarillo. So you thought you were done because you had storms? not so. With this kind of upper air forcing coming, Alex, there's more storms continuing this evening and tonight.
Right, and we watch communities across western Oklahoma, even places like Dallas into tomorrow morning. Right now, beautiful evening. You've been enjoying it, although the winds have definitely been picking up, and at times a few showers and thunderstorms in surrounding areas of the Metroplex. But right now, you can see pretty evening. Winds though gusting over 20 miles an hour as we speak. Severe thunderstorms a possibility into tonight and overnight, especially likely across portions of Oklahoma. I think for a place like Dallas, it's not going to be until tomorrow morning, really late morning, that we begin to watch that threat of severe storms really ramp up. 1, 2, 3 a.m. You can see those thunderstorms charging across western sections of Oklahoma, offering up hail and isolated tornado, but I think especially damaging winds. So now's the time to think. If you have a bedroom and your bedroom is up against a lot of trees, if you can see a lot of trees out your window, you may want to sleep in an interior room, better yet the basement, because falling trees I think are going to be a big threat as we move through the overnight. In addition to heavy rain, look at 3, 4, 5, all the way till 9 o'clock. Heavy rain falling around Oklahoma City. By late morning and into the early afternoon, we watch those storms around Dallas. They'll continue eastward throughout the day tomorrow, and so we watch parts of Texas, parts of Louisiana, and parts of Arkansas for the best chance of severe weather tomorrow. So we think likely across these communities, but possible all the way up into Iowa, sections of western Illinois. With the threat of severe weather will come more heavy rainfall. And that's been a real problem today around the Houston area. This is Spring, Texas, a postal service truck driving slowly through floodwaters. And you can see up to the headlights when this car comes out. There you go. There's the truck in the driveway, but you can make out just how deep that water is. Barely can make out the wheels of that postal service car. I know they've got the whole, we're not going to let anything stop us from delivering your mail, but Dr. Knabb, this is, we're getting up now where we're dealing with water on the roads that's becoming really dangerous. People are being rescued from cars.
Yeah, there's been multiple water rescues in Houston area, especially on the north side, but we're getting multiple reports of water-covered roadways on the southwest side, Meyerland and Sugarland. This is getting to be the point in the metropolitan Houston area where you just need to stay off the roads, period. There's no reason to play around with this and try to navigate your way around certain roads. If you can delay your travel, please do so, because it's going to be a long drive home, a dangerous drive home, and you could find yourself stranded and having to be rescued, as other people have been earlier today. I want to look at the big picture just to show you how serious of a situation this has become. This is the southwest side of town, where that flash flood warning has been in effect for quite some time, Sugarland, Rosenberg. But look what's happening. You had a temporary lull, and then boom, look at this. Another big round, a burst of heavy rainfall, thunderstorms in that same area. So as much flooding as has occurred in some spots, it could continue to get worse as the night goes on. When you've got 4-inch-per-hour rain rates in these storms, and you've already had a half a foot or more in many spots, it's really going to be treacherous. And the sun goes down in less than 20 minutes in the Houston area. So it gets extremely dangerous to be on the roads when you can't even see how much water is covering the road. The newest warning is in the southeast side of town, Baytown, Pasadena, and Pearland until 10:30. And then here's the one closest to downtown on the southwest side that includes the very vulnerable area of Meyerland, where there are impassable roads. Sugarland and Rosenberg, you're still in the warning until 8:15. I fear that places west of there, like Katy and Cinco Ranch, could be next in line. And then Spring area and Humble, your warning goes till 7:45. But it's still raining. And Alex, all that stuff that's causing those new warnings closer to downtown Houston could be headed north. Could we imagine getting past the 10-inch range in the area like Spring? It's really going to be a rough night. Stay off the roads.
Hard to fathom, but absolutely in play. They got big problems there in Houston, and we've got much more to come. More coverage of our severe storms. We'll check in with Dr. Forbes, who's monitoring the radar as we speak, and of course, monitoring the flash flood threat, not just for Houston, but for other communities across the Central Plains, the Midwest, and the Southeast in the days to come.